All right, what's up? This is Will, and you are watching Living It Up. We got another member from Elliot Johnson's project, Star Wars Remnants. Remnants. It is that fan film that he's working on. Now, we talked with a couple actors already, but we do want to know more about the movie, and we are going to talk about behind the scene kind of stuff. So we got Jacob Seay here, and he is I guess the official title would be like props manager.
Prop designer, prop master. That's probably accurate.
All right, cool. Go ahead and you can just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got into that design.
Yeah, so I'm actually by trade an aerospace engineer. I don't have a background in prop making, but I enjoy just making things and have I cosplay myself as the Din Djarin Mandalorian from the Mandalorian show, and got on the project because I am friends with one of the actors. Found out they got on the project and just kind of reached out and was like, hey, you guys need someone to make props for the film. And that's kind of how I got my in. And then I've been working on planning and making some of the first props since then.
That's awesome. With the Mandalorian, then, how are you feeling with that versus with the Star Wars world? Has it fit in?
I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job. I think Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's writing is has always been incredible. They're really good storytellers, and Dave Filoni is just such a guardian of the Star Wars lore and kind of the aesthetic and the feel that Star Wars has had, especially since the original movies. And they've done a very good job of incorporating the things that gets nerds like me really excited, but also writing a really good story. So I've just been ecstatic to watch that series develop.
Yes, it's definitely a good series. I just got into it myself, so I'm not too far in, so I can't have any spoilers. I'm still like on season one and about mid-season in there. Yeah,
I'll
but
be
I know
good.
everybody's talking about it. I'm just trying to always hide from, all the message boards and whatnot. Now, though, going back to props, though, and props are very important, not just in Star Wars in general, but I know like for Indiana Jones with the little statues and the whip and things like that. Are there like high-level other prop masters out there that people might not know about?
I'm not super familiar with like names in the prop world. I know there are a couple giants for sure that people know that have worked on different projects, but it's generally, I mean, huge teams of it for professional films like Star Wars and like Indiana Jones. It's generally huge teams of people that are working on those props. So yeah, but there are definitely a few people that I look up to, working on specifically Din Djarin, the Mandalorian suits.
All right. And then with the Star Wars Remnants, are you doing mostly just like all the props, all just weapons and stuff like that? Because I know like with Walking Dead, they have weapons where there's like more realistic weapons, but then there's some that are faded out for the animation part, or I guess the 3D rendering, where the tips are off and stuff like that.
Right. Right. So there's within the prop world, there's and I'm still kind of new to this, but there's often multiple different versions of a single prop. So you'll have what's called your hero prop, is your high detail prop that's you take all your close-up shots with it, and whenever your hero is posing with it, that's the prop you want to use. And then you'll have like a stunt prop, which is normally looks really close, but maybe it's made of rubber, so you can hit someone with it and it's not really going to hurt, or it's got a green screen bit to go with it. So
Oh, well, yeah, then that makes sense. Now with the 3D printing, I know that's somewhat kind of new, and I know you said you're new in the industry. So were you able to see that develop, or when you got in here, you already, were a pro with the 3D printing?
right. So I have exposure to 3D printing since high school. I worked with printers as part of a robotics team in middle school and high school. Had a lot more exposure during college, and I run two of my own printers at home and a printer at work. So I'm familiar with 3D printing initially from the robotics and engineering side of things, and kind of the rapid prototyping of, if I have an idea, I can conceptualize it, model it, print it, and test it within a very short time span as compared to traditionally. The magic that 3D printing has done for prop making is, if you can get a design or you can create a design, you can print it. So it, for people like me that don't have a lot of artistic skill, but we're really good at making things, it enables us to do a lot more than we could before.
Okay, yeah, I heard it's definitely changing the game, and like you said, saving time so you can get those deadlines in there. So did you actually have any props available that we can show? Because I know Elliot had one picture of one particular prop, or
Yes, yeah, I've actually got a handful of props that I can show from Remnants and other projects you can work on. I know this is, we don't have Dinjarin in our series, but since people love it so much, figure I can show you my helmet.
oh,
So
that's
that's,
awesome.
go ahead and place it on. The visibility is actually quite good. This is 3D printed and finished, and then it's just painted, a couple different paint techniques used, and a visor on it. Acrylic. So that's one of the things that kind of got me into the prop world. I'll show the one of the props that we've already made, and this was, I designed this myself, so this is one of the original props for the series. But this is Jen Valora's knife. So one of the main characters, she has a knife and a blaster. So this is a kind of, the design idea in this was looking through the script, seeing how it's used, and kind of how do we make this fit the character and have that Star Wars aesthetic. So I started with a karambit, which is a knife that's supposed to be held kind of backhanded like this, with the blade coming out the bottom, has that ring. And then to Star Warsify it, we added these little totally unnecessary kind of gear looking pieces to, give it a little bit of that Star Wars aesthetic of, slapping on extra little pieces and kind of claiming they have a function. Because it's that old new technology. I also have, this isn't finished yet, still working on it, but this is the blaster for our main.
Look at that.
A lot of people may recognize this as the DL-44. It's Han Solo's blaster that he carries through the original series. And there's been a bunch of variations of it, but we're making our own little tweaks to this one to make it fit our character. So yeah, this was 3D printed in 6 or 7 parts, and then they're all prepped and glued together and painted, and still in the process of finishing the paint on this one.
Well, with something like that, I know you said it came in different parts. How long in total do you think it took you from concept to the finish? Well, I know you're still finishing it up,
right?
Time-wise.
It really did. With 3D printing, the actual printing process really depends. There's a lot of changes you can make as in settings you use, but that one took, I think it took about 2-3 days to print the parts for it. Quite a bit of time of sanding. The biggest prep part and work with 3D prints is sanding, because when you get a 3D print off like this is the shoulder pauldron for the Mandalorian. When you get it off the printer, I mean, this looks really smooth and this is really good for a 3D print. But if you look really closely, there are lines going across it. And when you paint the prop, those lines are really evident. So you have to spend a lot of time sanding and filling those lines. So that's a huge time consumer there. So I'd say for any, even a basic part like that blaster would be 2-3 hours of sanding, and then priming, filling, more sanding before you can get to the paint process, and then you're going to spend some time on the paint. So
well, definitely sounds like a labor of love, though, but definitely have to have that attention to detail. What's the story though with that katana blade? I'm sure that's not a part of Star Wars, but
yes, no. So this is just, I have an infatuation with Japanese culture. So I have my black belt, and then I have a just a katana that I hang in my room. It's nothing fancy. I found it pretty cheap, but yeah.
No, that's just awesome though. One of my favorite characters from Walking Dead was a katana person, so just had to ask about that.
Absolutely.
All right. So if someone is like, new into 3D printing or want to do prop designs, do you have any kind of advice for them?
Yeah, I would say just start making stuff, start painting stuff. Here's another blaster that I'm using for a different project. And this is just a repainted Nerf gun. So, I mean, even if it's just taking a Nerf gun and putting some paint on it, or, I mean, when I was younger, I was always the kid that's just making stuff, whether it's, toy guns out of wood, or I think at one point I made a samurai set of armor out of cardboard and duct tape. So, I mean, I would really just say start making stuff and you'll learn a lot along the way. And then the online cosplay community is very welcoming and everyone's always super eager to help. So I would say jump on Facebook, find a group around whatever you want to work on. That's how I got into my Mandalorian suit. I jumped on a Facebook group and I knew I wanted to make the costume, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. And there was just a wealth of information and people who were willing to help and point me in the right direction there.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm definitely into the cosplay community. We have a whole bunch of other shows about it. And I hope once, COVID lifts up, and I know it's lifting up in a couple places. So hopefully that will be back in full swings for the conventions and whatnot.
Oh, I can't wait to go to a con. I'm like, everything has been shut down since I finished my Mandalorian suit. So waiting for a chance to get out there and use it.
So you haven't even had your big debut with it yet?
I've gone out a couple times on it, but not to events really. I like wearing my helmet around because of COVID, and my mask. I wear the full helmet around, and it's people love it.
Well, definitely awesome. All that work looks so cool. Definitely can't wait to see it in the movie. Was there any social media that you want to promote, or just any last words that you have?
Absolutely, yeah. If anybody wants to look up How I See, it's HOWISEAY. Just a pun on my last name. That is my YouTube presence and Instagram presence. And there I talk a lot more about making my Mandalorian suit and kind of some more prop stuff. So if you'd be interested to see my full Mandalorian suit and some of the other stuff that I'm working on and go through some videos, check that out.
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate you again for taking time out to be on here. Once again, that was Jacob Seay, and we're going to post links for you to his information so you can check that out. And of course, Star Wars Remnants. They are still doing their Indiegogo fundraiser, so you can check out that too. And they'll be in the links. Elliot's got his Star Wars thing. He's doing really well, but still, we want to hit that goal. And you have another Indiegogo that you wanted to talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah, so for the Remnants, some of the tiers on the Indiegogo is getting some of the props. Specifically, we've got our Gen Valora knife, so I'll be making more of these for those that have supported us, as well as this is not the final version. This is Din Djarin's knife, but we're probably using a similar design for the other knife that's part of the Indiegogo. So if you are interested in having either of these made by myself, go ahead and select that tier on our Indiegogo.
Awesome. Yeah, that's definitely a good insight to see those different tiers. Check out the website and their page. We want this movie to take off here, so we need to see everybody's love here. All right. Thank you again. Hope you have a good day, Jacob.